Today we will be discussing the accessory organs or appendages of the integumentary system and also the functions of the integumentary system. We'll begin by talking about hair. The human body is covered with millions of hairs, and only a few areas of the skin are hairless. This includes your lips, the palms, and soles of your feet. Hair offers protection for your body. It helps in the regulation of body temperature by keeping us warm, but hair also helps to facilitate perspiration, and perspiration is one of the main ways that our body helps to cool itself. Now, hair consists of different parts. The first part of hair that we are going to look at is called the shaft. The shaft is the non-living part of hair that you see. Looking here at this illustration, you can see how the hair shaft extends through the epidermis. The shaft itself has three layers. The cuticle, which is the outermost layer, this is protective of the shaft. The cortex, which is the middle layer, and this is what you see if you have split ends. And then the medulla, which is the innermost layer. The next part of the hair is called the hair follicle. The hair follicle is a living layer, and this surrounds hair beneath the surface of the skin. The hair follicle is important because this is where hair starts to grow. Hair is going to grow out of the hair follicle. Next, you have the papilla. The papilla is the white tuft of skin on the end of the hair. You have the erector pili muscle, and this is considered the goosebumps muscle. So generally, the erector pili contracts when you're frightened or you get cold. When muscles contract, this creates depressed points on the skin called goosebumps. And then the last part of the hair that we are going to look at is called the root. And this is the part of hair that's going to be deeper in the skin. It's actually found in the dermis. And the root is located within the bottom of the hair, which is called the hair bulb. Moving on from hair, we're now going to look at nails. Nails are important because they protect the fingertips. The different parts of nails include the following. You have the nail plate, and this is the part that you can see. You also have the nail bed, and this is the skin beneath the nail plate. And if you look at your nail plate, you're going to see that it maybe looks pink in color. And this is because the nail plate has many blood vessels, and that contributes to its pink appearance. The nail matrix is important because this is where your fingernails and your toenails start to grow. The nail matrix creates new skin by pushing the old dead skin to make the nail bed. And the last part of nails we have is the cuticle. This is what rims the base of the nail. We're now going to look at two different types of glands that are located within the skin. The first type of gland is called the sudoriferous or sweat glands. And these glands are important because they are a primary way of how the skin helps to regulate body temperature. These sudoriferous glands are involved in the excretory function of skin. And this is due to how they cause us to sweat. The sudoriferous glands are distributed over the entire surface of skin. And things like heat, pain, fever, and nervousness, so you think like sweaty palms, those are things that activate the sudoriferous glands. Now, interestingly to note, perspiration is 99% water. And when you sweat, you may taste salt in your sweat, but understand that most of your perspiration is water, and you have very small quantities of things like salt and waste products, such as urea, which comes from the breakdown of proteins in your body. But these sudoriferous glands are important because, again, they help the body in maintaining a proper temperature. Next, the other type of gland that we have are called sebaceous or oil glands. Sebaceous glands secrete oil for hair and skin. This oil is important because it helps to protect and nourish hair and skin. And the oil itself has a name, and the name is called sebum. Again, this sebum is going to lubricate hair and skin, helping to keep it soft and pliable. You can think of sebum as being nature's skin cream. This illustration shows the different structures that we have talked about. So take some time to study this picture and be familiar with where the different structures are located. We're going to finish today's class by talking about the functions of the integumentary system. And we've already touched on some of this in previous material, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it in more depth. The main function that you think about with the integumentary system is protection, because skin is the covering to the body. It protects us from germ invasion, and it helps to protect our deeper tissues, and it also helps to protect our body from dehydration. When we get bumped or hit, that skin is able to absorb those bumps or hits, and it helps to prevent us from injury. Skin also protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays that come from the sun. The skin is able to screen out these rays so that they don't cause damage to the body. Skin is also very important in the regulation of body temperature. So when we talked about the sudoriferous glands and how they facilitate sweating, that's a big way of how our body loses excess heat. So not only do we lose excess heat from perspiration and sweating, because when that water, when it evaporates off the skin, that's going to cause heat to go with it. But also, we lose heat from the skin by radiation. And how this works is when we get hot, we can have increased quantities of blood are allowed to fill those blood vessels next to the skin. And by this way, heat is lost through radiation. So you can feel heat being lost through radiation. If you were hot and you placed your hand close to the surface of the skin, you could actually feel some of that heat coming off. The integumentary system is important in the production of vitamin D. So vitamin D helps to keep our bones strong because it increases calcium absorption in the intestines. And skin is important in one of the first stages of vitamin D formation. So you have to have an excellent way to, again, get vitamin D is to expose skin to ultraviolet rays of the sun. And your skin is able to then make vitamin D from the cholesterol that's in your skin. The next function is sensory perception. Skin functions as an enormous sense organ with many nerve endings located throughout the skin. And you can think of these nerve endings as being antennas or receivers for the body, being able to detect different stimuli. The integumentary system has an important role in storage. So we have learned already that the subcutaneous layer of skin contains about half of our body fat. And that body fat is important because it helps to not only insulate and protect us, but it also provides a source of energy. The skin also offers temporary storage for glucose, for water, and salts such as sodium chloride. The integumentary system also is able to absorb. And skin has these special properties to absorb certain drugs and other chemical substances. And this is why we're able to apply drugs or medications to the skin to treat different conditions. So think about if you ever had you got into some poison oak, and you had to use some chamomile lotion. That would be an example of something that can be absorbed in through the skin. Or if you have an itchy rash, you may use something like hydrocortisone cream. And then you have some medications can also be absorbed through the skin and have a general effect in the body. General effect meaning more widespread effect. And an example of this would be something like pain medication can be available as a cream to be absorbed into the skin. And then the last function of the integumentary system that we are going to talk about is called excretion. And with excretion, this is just describing skin's ability to excrete or get rid of waste products through sweating. So though sweating is mostly water, understand that you still are losing excess things through sweat, things that your body needs to get rid of. That can include excess water. Also excess salts, that's why our sweat can taste salty. And then again, we can lose waste products like urea, which is produced from the breakdown of proteins that our body uses. And those are the functions of the integumentary system, and that does conclude today's class.